Hi and welcome to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm good as always, thanks son. Hi everyone, I hope you're all okay.
So a draw against Reading. That really doesn't sound good.
I'm proper naffed off.
It's
let that week go? I will never know.
Well, the annoying thing is that you're watching or listening to the match and at 2-1 you're thinking, good, we're doing good. And then you see the substitutions Rowett makes. He brings on Fletcher for McLean, if I remember right. And I remember two more defensive ones just off the top of my head. And
immediately Williams come on, didn't he?
Yeah. Obviously we brought on Tom Edwards as well for Eric Peters. And you can't help but think, we're holding on here. And then what is the one thing Stoke don't do well? Hold on.
Well, naff. I'm saying naff because I don't want to swear. But what really naffed me off was the change of team again.
I mean, this is a debate, right? And I would actually like some viewers' opinions. Is it a good idea to change a winning team due to fatigue? I mean, my argument is no. I'm using the argument of World Cup or European Championship footballers who, you know, if they're playing for the national team, they'll play 2 or 3 games in consecutive days, sort of thing. You know, it'll be like play on the Monday, have a couple of days off, play on the Thursday. You know, for me, fatigue or tiredness is not an excuse. But what do you think?
Josh, you know my opinion on this. They earn mega bucks.
Yeah.
And to me, if they can't play 180 minutes of football a week, then it's time pack in. And this was only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was disgraceful.
I mean, I've got to agree with you. It's just one of those things where if they had played the same team for 3 or 4 in a row and we were finally getting momentum, and then he changes it, you could sort of go, you know what, we have played a few games with the same team, they've all played well, you know, you could sort of understand making a few changes just to freshen it up. But with it only being 3 days and we've only had that team play once together, you think, why have you done that? Why not just keep it?
Well, I'll quote Terry Conroy because he was commentating on Saturday, and his first comment was, should be winning against Reading, we are far more superior, which I agree. His second comment play is sloppy. I don't like Stoke at the minute.
Which is, I think, something that resonates across the fan base, because the difficulty is that we just don't seem to have a second or third gear. We're always in first.
Yeah.
You know, we're very tepid in our passing. We defend with some enthusiasm. I mean, I think the reason we did so well against Derby is there was a little bit of edge in the game. But if there isn't an added edge, we struggle to make some. And I think, like I say, we just struggle to go up the levels. We're just always in first gear.
Well, the first 5 minutes, Afobe, he missed an easy header. And according to Terry Conroy, that should have flown in. I don't know what you think. I'm only getting what TC said.
I mean, Afobe did speak after the match and he owned up for the misses, but he did come out and own them, and he essentially said, I went in at half time, I said to the lads, sorry, I should have put them away, I'll get the next one. And he did. So as far as character goes, I'm giving him 10 out of 10 for owning up for his mistakes to both players and fans, as well as actually correcting it during the game.
And again, Clucas, he should have scored from 8 yards out. And Conroy again said that should have been in.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's been said a lot this season. We just lack a finishing touch at times.
Yeah. And we've got to get on top of it. We're better than this.
I mean, I think it says a lot for how Reading are as a team that we go down 1-0 just before half time and everyone, including myself, thinks, Stoke that, isn't it? You know, it just seems like it's written in the stars that we concede a goal before half time when our play deserved at least going in 0-0.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the equaliser at full time, and you're thinking, that's us again. You know,
what was that 4 minutes into full time, was it?
It was one of the last kicks of the game, that's for certain.
Yeah. But, do you know, and I've got to be so truthful, I'm not happy
No.
with Stoke City FC, full stop. For the first time in supporting Stoke, I don't like the team, I don't like the players, I don't like the manager as such. There's something missing from the Stoke City team, and I can't put my finger on it.
I sort of know what you're saying. I mean, for me, right, over the years, there's always been a player who, despite what maybe outsiders would think, both fans and management would like. So,
Yeah.
for example, a John Walters, someone who the fans get behind because they know he gives 110%, and someone the manager likes for that reason as well. Yet, there seems to be a conflict all the time between fans and management. Bojan is the one who I'm thinking of here, in the sense that the fans really want him involved, whereas management seems to be saying, no, we're not rating you, we're leaving you out of the 18.
Yeah.
And equally, you've got players like James McLean who divide the fans, shall we call it, but don't divide the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we are struggling collectively, that we're not on the same page. And I think if we could just find someone who everyone is unanimous about liking, it's got to be an upfront player, because unfortunately Ryan Woods is like by all, I think, but
Yeah.
he isn't exactly a game changer.
But I can't pinpoint one player who plays for Stoke now who I think, yeah, he's good, he is. I can't.
Tom Ince.
Well, yeah, Tom Ince is doing his part. I can't take that away from him. But I'm even at a loss for words, which isn't me. I'm feeling depressed about Stoke.
Yeah,
Because I know that we're struggling to get a win.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like when they were in the second division of the old football. And they just aren't fighting.
I mean, I'm actually debating that. I don't believe they aren't fighting, but what I believe is that they aren't capable of holding on, as we said earlier. When it's 2-1 and you see the changes that have been made, most sides would strengthen up by that, in the sense of saying, right, Gaffer's telling us hold on, let's hold on. But for some reason, these players just wilt. It causes a mistake and suddenly we're down, or we concede a goal. And
I think that somebody, I know he wouldn't come to Stoke, but Big Sam, I think he could shift them into shape by his tone more than anything. They need a good shouting at and a good kick up the backside, the lot of them.
Now, this is an interesting thing, in the sense that several weeks ago after the Blackburn game, Gary Rowett tried that, in the sense that, there was a big to-do, as everyone will remember. He called out Ryan Shawcross, he called out quite a few of the defenders, in fact, and he got criticised for it, saying you wouldn't speak like that in front of the cameras. Now, I know what you might be saying isn't necessarily in front of the cameras.
No, it's outside. It's on the training pitch.
But this is the thing, we don't see either of them. We wouldn't know if Rowett or Allardyce did that. So for
But
me,
you looking at a Stoke team, would you think that they'd had a rollicking? Because I wouldn't. They don't give a monkeys.
at half time, I'd say they had, just for the fact that they came out and got a goal straight away.
Well, I know they got the goal and that's all that counts. But they let another one in and come away with another flaming draw.
I'm not in disagreement with you about the football. It does need to improve, and the best way I can look at it is, I believe that Gary Rowett needs time to get his own players in, because I think what you're saying is you aren't happy with the squad shape or the squad setup, and that can only change in my eyes when you've got a manager who's been given time to build a squad in his image. Now, he's got players that I think he's been told were good, or he's seen on television and thought, oh, he looks good, but he's had time to work with them now, and perhaps he's going, you know what, I don't really rate that guy. So for me, that's what he needs. He needs another window, maybe even next summer, to actually rebuild. Would it be disappointing if we didn't get into the playoffs? It would be quite a bit. Just for the fact that, one, we're a relegated team, you'd always like to bounce back up at the first time. On the other hand, I look at the fact that you've got big clubs in this division like Leeds, Aston Villa, who have been trying for years to get, well, for a few years now in Villa's case, to get back up, and they haven't. So, whilst it would be disappointing, it wouldn't be the end of the world as a Stoke supporter. I mean, to be honest, if you told me in the Premier League you might have to spend, say, 3-4 years outside of the Premier League to get back in, I wouldn't have been happy, but if I knew that we'd get that back there eventually, I'd have been alright with it, because, you know, this is how football goes, it's always cyclical. Is it cyclical, is it? In the sense that, you know, you'll always have a period of down in your club's history, you'll always have a high period, and I wouldn't say we're on the low right now, because those of you who are in the lower division, shall we call it, you know, they will have experienced the lowest, but we are at a low right now, and I do believe at some point we'll go on a high again, but I think what as supporters we need to do is just ride out the low.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't give Rob Huth a chance.
I mean,
I know he was injured, but he could have got fit.
As much as I love Rob, I think it's telling that in the full 5 months since we had him in training, he hasn't got a contract somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still hoping he'd play for us.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd love to see Rob back in red and white, but like I say, I just think that contract is a telling situation. If he'd have got a deal somewhere, I'd have gone, yeah, we should have gone for him. But I think if anyone gets him now, people's instant reaction will be, they're desperate, they've gone for Huth, haven't they? So
well, I just think him and Shawcross, it might give Shawcross the confidence, because him and Huth had a fantastic partnership.
I think instead of looking backwards, we need to look forwards, and the key to that is finding new partnerships. Because, you know, I think it's fair to say Ryan isn't there still. I mean, I had hoped when we got the Derby result, it was the first in a long line of him getting back to form. Yet, the thing is, when we start conceding goals and our captain is the centre-half on the pitch, I can't help but wonder, could you have done more to keep that goal out? I'm thinking of the equaliser there at full time. I mean, unlike previous games, I haven't seen the goals. But what I am looking at is, could Ryan have done more to get the defence in line? Especially when you've got three centre-halves, and it does seem like it was a ball across from Madhu Barrow. So that's what I'm looking like. I wouldn't mind if I could get some feedback on that, because again, maybe I'm being harsh on Ryan, but I'm thinking to myself, as a captain, he should be the one holding that back line together to keep the goal out. So really I'm wondering what went wrong.
Yeah. I mean, okay, new players, bring new players in, but not any more pensioners.
I 100% agree there. I mean,
you know,
I was listening to Praise and Grumble after the match, and there was a bit of criticism from towards a caller about calling the squad has-beens. And I don't necessarily agree the entire squad are, but I do agree that we've got a few hangers-on to call them that, and that, you know, as much as I love Peter Crouch, he is getting to the wrong side of his career now.
Yeah.
And whilst I wouldn't necessarily release him, I don't think he should be on the bench as often as he is. There should be stronger competition for him on the bench.
But it's like Fletcher. He's had his day now.
I agree there. I mean, to be honest, I think what you're talking about in terms of liking the team more, if we saw an Ollie Shenton on the bench, you know, someone like that who could just come on and have 20 minutes a year, it would help, because it would galvanise the fans.
Yeah.
But we haven't got anyone on the bench who makes you go, oh, maybe he can come on, he'll do something.
We've got nothing. I've never known the Stoke team that haven't got nothing.
The actual definition there, I think, is we haven't got game changers.
No.
We're looking at Ince, but, well, I when you said earlier, I called out Ince, but besides that, there aren't a lot who you think can just turn a game just like that.
And let's face it, who will want to come to Stoke?
That is a difficult question as far as attacking players go. Defenders might actually like it, because I think Rowett would suit a defender. Whereas attackers might think, you know, will I actually flourish under him? You know, so I do agree with you there. It's going to be a tricky sell for some of the flair players who might help us in the league.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we'd better move on, because I'm getting deeper and deeper into depression.
Plus we've got 10 minutes left, so let's get cracking. So, what are your stats this week?
Oh dear, the stats this week. Ipswich, 1 won, drawn 8, lost 11. They're currently 24th in the league. You know, they're holding us all up. They've had 4 yellow cards. They've had 10 yellow cards and 3 red cards so far this season. And even though they haven't scored a lot of goals, Edwards is the top scorer with 4.
Well, I remember I was watching Soccer Saturday or something on the first match day when they played Blackburn, and that Edwards did get good reviews that day. I think the general consensus was that's a good buy, you know, that's going to help the manager at the time, Paul Hurst, out. But it just seems like, for whatever reason, Hurst just couldn't get that Ipswich squad going in any sense. I think it's a bit similar to us with Rowett in a way. But perhaps the telling difference is that Rowett was getting results here and there, maybe getting draws, whereas, as you can tell by the results there, Hurst just couldn't even get draws.
I know what I did notice, that, again, about the yellow cards, that they've got 10, but then 10, there's like 3 in one match on 2 of them, I think it was. But the other side also, who they were playing, got 3 yellows. So
they draw the other team in.
Yeah, so I think that they're committing fouls and also making the team they're playing retaliate, and they getting yellows as well.
Equally, it could be diving, things like that. I'm not trying to label Ipswich there with that, but you know, it could be a case of playing dirty tactics for argument's sake, and a lot of teams do it. So again, it's not a directed criticism or a general one.
But I just hope we aren't pulled in by that.
Okay.
Because we do have players who do like to stick a leg out.
Yeah.
Should I say?
Yeah, I've got Ecker in mind there.
Yes.
And Allen. But yeah, that is quite interesting. I mean, I'm still surprised that they sacked Paul Hurst. Not necessarily that he was obviously doing great. I mean, you know, you look at it and you think, well, it was relegation form. But on the other hand, they got rid of Mick McCarthy. Well, when I say got rid, the fans essentially pushed him out, and the chairman just said, okay, we'll give the fans what they want. But equally, I'm thinking, I'm wondering if Mick McCarthy was actually doing better than people realised.
I said that at the time, didn't I?
I mean, I know the Ipswich fans might look at me there and say, oh, you're just saying that, you haven't really followed us. And you know what, you're right, I don't follow Ipswich. This is just an outsider's perspective. But I can't help but look and think, where would they be under McCarthy now?
Yeah.
Because it is the general question that I think every outsider will have asked when seeing Ipswich this season. And
I mean...
Sorry, and the only thing I would add is, what did Ipswich fans expect Paul Hurst to do? Because yes, the results were bad, but what did they expect him to do that he didn't do? Because obviously you might be saying, well, more results obviously, but we expect him to be challenging for the playoffs under him. We expect him mid-table. If that's the case, we expecting a faster start. It's just, there are questions to be thrown up there, and I'm not 100% sure what Hurst did wrong in terms of playing style or recruitment, actual tactics in game. It's interesting for me on the outside looking in, but maybe for the Ipswich fans, they'd say, trust me, it was terrible. So, yeah, I am curious.
I mean, in the late 60s, early 70s, I used to follow Ipswich, and they were a good team back then.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't one... Well, when I say they weren't one of your top teams, they actually were. You know, they were always up there. And they were always a difficult team to play. And we even had one of their players, Mick Mills, as our manager. And, okay, he didn't do well as a manager. And he wasn't with us that long. But we must have thought there was something there to have him at the time.
I mean, it just makes me wonder if maybe it's just a bad spell for Ipswich as a club. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying it, but if we went to Portman Road this weekend instead of them coming to us, I would actually still be worried about getting a result there. Not necessarily because our away form is bad, but I consider Portman Road a tough place to go. So
that's a good point, that, Josh, because I wouldn't say they get a point at Portland Road.
You know, because on paper, especially when you look at the form for the home team and away team as far as home and away results, I think Ipswich have probably got more chance of getting something this weekend because we seem to struggle against the inverted commas lesser teams in the league. Whereas, when it comes to the derbies, we seem to be at least turning up more.
Yeah.
So, as far as this game goes, I'm more worried about this game at home, but I certainly wouldn't dismiss an away trip because Portman Road, it might not be the biggest ground in the league, but it's certainly intimidating as far as that East Anglican sort of vibe that you get. I mean, it's like I wouldn't like going Norwich either, and I shouldn't mention that with Ipswich, but it's true. Both them grounds for me are intimidating places to go.
Yeah, like I say, in years gone by, they were a team to watch. And I always liked them as a football club who could play good football in them years.
Yeah.
But going by, I made some notes here, and they're the worst stats that I've seen.
Yeah.
And this isn't the Ipswich stats I knew. But I'm going to have a good look at them.
I mean, when you add in the fact that now they've got Paul Lambert in charge, who we haven't even touched on yet, despite it essentially being the Paul Lambert derby of sorts, you can't help but look and think, well, what are they going to do now? Because we've got first-hand experience of Lambert in the sense that we know he's not exactly... He didn't excel in a relegation fight last year. He did okay as far as tightening a defence, but he didn't do great as far as scoring. So I don't know if that's what Ipswich are hoping, that if they tighten up at the back, maybe they'll be able to do something up front in January. But again, it's going to be a long season for Ipswich as it stands.
Well, what's your verdict? Because I want to touch on something else in a second.
So my prediction, 1-1.
I've got to go 1-0 to Stoke, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a shock result.
That's why I went 1-1. I mean, I've got this image in my head, a bit like the gameplay again, that Ipswich take the lead against the run of play, they hold out for the draw, and then we get an equaliser.
Yeah.
But we can't push on for the winner. That's my vision of the game. But again, maybe like I've said in the past, the gameplay is just clouding me judgment a little, having played it very recently. But yeah.
Right. I mean, I think we should just mention the wonderful Mark Hughes.
Oh yes, I'm going to say he'll be down job centre, won't he?
With 18 million payoff.
Well, hang on, that's across all the clubs he's been sacked by.
Well,
that's the accumulative total that they've worked out across Man City, QPR, and I think it was us as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, 18 million, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money, that is, for keep getting sacked.
I mean, when you think...
He's on the right, good spinner, isn't he?
Well, it is if you can afford to do it. I mean, I think it was only like, say, 3 back from us, but you still look at it and you go, 3 million in our pocket's better than it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I'm still annoyed that he got the sack for the simple reason, and he's still got that tag of never being relegated. So you can just imagine some idiotic chairman in the Premier League going, all right, we'll give him a 6-month contract, we'll see if he can keep us up. And
yeah.
I mean,
he's probably gone crying to the management saying, if you're going to sack me before the end of the season, before we're relegated,
I mean,
keep me record, get me.
It's sort of where I hope Neil Warnock does well at Cardiff, because I can just imagine them lot going for him. Welshman, and all that, and I just think, just keep him out of the Premier League. If he gets a job in that division again, I don't know what chairman it is, but they will be classed as an idiot across the entire of Stoke-on-Trent, maybe bar down Burslem area.
I mean, I think he's proved to himself, really, that he can't manage a Premier League team.
But what I think he's proven is he can't build one. I mean, I don't dismiss the 3 years he did well with us in terms of working on Tony Pulis' foundations. But as soon as he got rid of those foundations, he was found out.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sorry he's been sacked, but equally I wish he had been, but later on in the season when it was down to him that they got relegated.
Yeah. But I don't think you'll ever see Mark Hughes in that position, because he doesn't want it being known, does he?
Not by the looks of it.
But anyway, goodbye Mark Hughes.
But yeah, so we'd like to thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, could you please leave a like? If we can, we'd like to get 5 likes this video, so if you can hit that like button, it'd be nice to try and hit that target. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you again next time. Bye for now.
Okay, goodbye folks, and enjoy the match.